What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Spencer coming at you, going card by card breakdown for the Sacred Beast structure deck. I'm not going to show you guys the box or the play mat or whatever because it's a flimsy piece of paper that you'll never use. So let's just go ahead and go card by card. I'll give you my opinion on them, and then I'll give you my impressions overall of how the community is responding to this thing, and what people are doing with it. And tomorrow, if you're viewing this the day it's live, tomorrow will be the debut of my gameplay video for this structure deck. So, in my build of it, and eventually I will buy the cards, and then I will give you a deck profile like I did before. If you guys want to go check out the old one, you can. The thing is with the structure deck, before I get into it too much, is that in my mind, Sacred Beast have always been a control deck. That's how they should be. And Konami did recognize that a little bit, but he also kind of went hard for this OTK type of thing. And I just don't think it fits it at all. I just don't think that's how it should be played. So, in any case, let's go card by card here, and I will give you my impressions of each one and whether or not I think you should use it in yours. And let's see what we got here. So, starting off, we have Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, Shimmering Scraper, yeah, okay. Thought I was saying that wrong. Cannot be normal summon or set. Must be stuff summoned from the hand by tributing 3 monsters. So I guess it's more like Obelisk the Tormentor. Sure, why not? I don't know why you would ever summon this thing, or when that would ever be the case. In any case, you can only use the following effects of Raviel, Lord of Phantasms, once per turn. Quick effect: you can discard this card, target 1 Raviel, Lord of Phantasms you control. For the rest of this turn, its attack becomes double. Its attack, and it can attack all the monsters your opponent controls at once. And if this card is in your graveyard, you contribute 1 monster, add this card to your hand. So the idea is that the token that you get during your opponent's turn, for whatever reason, which makes no sense, it's this Raviel is like such a bad card. But in any case, it's okay. I mean, I guess you can at least summon it so in an emergency, but I don't know when you would ever have 3 monsters on your field. And I guess it's good that you can get it back to your hand. I guess it's kind of like a hand trap. Again, I don't really know what you could have done with Raviel to make it more interesting, but this isn't a bad card. It's just not great, especially if you were to open it. And if you were going first, which I think should be what you're doing with Sacred Beast always, I don't think Sacred Beast is a blind go second deck at all. In any case, yeah, it's not a terrible card, but it is what it is. Here is, and obviously it looks really nice. Let's go back actually, and so I can hopefully show you guys. Yeah, there we go. Not a bad. It obviously looks fantastic, so that goes without saying. Some people call it a retrain of Raviel, this bad boy, but I don't think so because it doesn't count. If it counted as Raviel, Lord of Phantasms on the field, we would be talking about something completely different. Here's your boy Raviel. Won't go over it too much, but it's a pretty bad card, but it is something that you have to use, basically, because the way I think the best version of this is control, but I think it's control in the form of hand traps and stuff, so I'd rather have it than Uriah on the field at any time. Here's my favorite card. Oh, it's such a good card. Look at that. That is fantastic. There's Uriah. Or Hamon, excuse me. And here's Uriah. I may end up making a different deck profile and video just for Uriah, because I think you can build a deck around him. But as it stands right now, I think the best support goes with Hamon. So that is where I go with the deck. Here's Armor Tile, which you'll never use, basically. Still looks like a fantastic card, though. It's such an awesome looking thing. And it's one of my favorite cards in the game. Not because of actual effect, because of the way the card art. In any case, here's the fusion spell that makes it much easier to summon him at least. It says, banish from your hand, field, or graveyard the fusion materials that are listed on Phantasm Fusion Monster, which is only one of them, basically. Then special summon that fusion monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. You take no battle damage from attacks involving the monster special summoned by this effect. Sure, why not? That's pretty cool. If you control Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel, your opponent can activate cards in response to this card's activation. So I guess it's like a pseudo super poly, I guess. I don't know why that's a thing, but I guess it's kind of cool, and it'll go off all the time, but I do not use this card, just to let you guys know. I just think Armor Tile stinks, and I'm just so, honestly, mostly disappointed that they did not make a new fusion monster for it. I don't know why they did that. I definitely would have used the card if you could, because it's pretty easy to get 2 of them on there, but 3 is ridiculous. And I know there's ways to cheat it out, but is that honestly what you want your win condition to be? A 10,000 attack monster that people can probably get rid of easily? So yeah, that's how I feel about that. Here is a really good card, I think. Cerulean Skyfire. It's a 1-of in my deck, so I'll be good with this structure deck for that. But fantastic looking card. Obviously it has Hamon, which is my favorite, which, I mean, that just looks amazing. To special summon Hamon, you can use spell and traps, face down spell and traps to control. I don't know why you do that, but whatever. Once per turn, while you control an attack position Hamon, you can negate any spell or trap effect activated by your opponent. Then change Hamon down to defense position, which works really well. I think it's a very well designed card within the archetype because obviously you can't target other monsters with attacks other than Hamon. And if any of your Sacred Beasts leave the field, you take no damage for the rest of the turn, which I think is also very good because, as you'll see later, there's cards that help you gain life points and stuff like that. And so, honestly, I think this is a fantastic archetype for stalling or if games go really long, because most of the time you'll be able to gain life points and protect your life points, which can be the difference in Game 3. I'm thinking match-wise. So yeah, I think this is a fantastically designed card. I really like it, and obviously it looks really good, so big fan of that. Wish they would have made more continuous spells, honestly. I mean, they did. There is another one, but I don't know. I just feel like maybe they could have done more with it, but we'll stick with it and be happy with what we have here. Here is Hyperblaze, and I'm not sure how to feel about this one, but in any case, to special summon Uriah, you can also use face down traps you control, which is really nice. Because normally that'd be face up, and that takes 2 turns, and that is too slow usually for today's game. Once per battle, when an attack is declared involving Uriah, you can send 1 trap from your hand or deck to the graveyard, which of course you probably do your deck. Its attack and defense becomes a number of face-up traps on the field and in the graveyard, so at least I'll have 1,000 attack, I guess. But it's cool. And it says face-up traps on the field, so I guess if your opponent has one, that's neat. Whatever. For the rest of this turn, once per turn, you can discard 1 card, add to your hand, or special summon 1 Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel. So I guess if you have one in your hand, you can pitch it and then special summon it, which I think is pretty cool. And obviously it looks really good. I don't know, I don't use this card yet, but I'm thinking about using it just because you can special summon from the graveyard, and I run a very low count of Sacred Beasts, and that's something that I'll talk about later, actually, after I'm done. Here is one of the new Fiend monsters. This is like that Cyber Dragon monster. I wish I could remember it, but and it's also like the Blue Eyes card as well. The Maiden of Idas of Blue, I think it's called. When either player activates a card or effect that targets this card, or when they are targeted for an attack, so any form of removal, I guess, you can send 1 each of the Sacred Beasts from your hand and or deck to the graveyard. And if you do, place 1 Phantasm counter on this card for each card sent to the graveyard. So I guess that would be 3. And if you place it, if you place at least 1, you take no damage this turn, which I guess is cool. Once per turn, if this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can remove 1 Phantasm counter. So this bad boy is probably going to have 3 counters on it, but I mean, I guess it's supposed to be used in tandem with the fusion spell because you can banish from the graveyard. I'm not really too interested. I'd rather have Inspector Border, to be honest with you, and you guys will see that tomorrow when I debut the gameplay for this. It's fine if you're dedicated to the fusion spell. I'm not, and theoretically it works with Hyperblaze as well, since it'll be loaded in the graveyard. It's not something that I'm interested in the way I play the deck at all. Here is the best card in the deck, pretty much. When this card is normal summon, unfortunately it's not special summon, but normal summon's fine. It's one of the best normal summons you can have in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And I know that sounds like an exaggeration, but for what it does, you'll see. You can add 1 Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel, or 1 card that lists in its text from your deck to your hand, except its own, obviously. You can only use this effect of Dark Making once per turn. During your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Fiend monster with 0 attack in addition to your normal summon or set. Now, that means not only can you search all of your Sacred Beasts, which you probably won't because you can search them in so many different other ways. You can grab the continuous spell, you can grab the trap cards, anything in the archetype you can add to your hand in addition to being able to summon again. Like, this is an amazing card that they made. This is insane, and I can't believe it's a common. I will go over that too later, but That is just crazy to me that they would do that, knowing how good it is. Here's another great card that just came out, Chaos Summoning Beast. You contribute this card, special summon 1 Uriah, Haman, or Rabiel from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is fantastic. And then you can banish this card. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Add 1 Fallen Paradise. So it's a terraforming and also summons your your Sacred Beast from their hand. And there's a great combo, which you guys will see tomorrow, where you can summon 2 of these bad boys out if you open with Dark Beckoning and Dark Summoning Beast, or Chaos Summoning Beast. Here is the OG bad boy himself, Dark Summoning Beast. Definitely still in the deck, but luckily now that you can lower the count of what you have of this, which I'm really happy about. This is kind of like the poster child for non-support, basically. I don't use it. Phantom of Chaos, as you guys know, can just take an effect monster in your graveyard and banish it, and it takes on the original attack in effect. But no, it's not. Your normal summon is you're always gonna want it to be either Chaos or Dark Beckoning. So I used to play it in my deck, but I do not anymore, and I don't recommend that you guys do either. Here's a bunch of cards that you'll never, ever, ever use. When this card is normal summon, you can special summon any number of Sky Blaster tokens up to the number of monsters you control, which is like, okay, whatever. Once per turn, you can inflict 300 points of damage for each Sky Blaster monster you control. I think this is at 1, actually. It's limited, and I'm sure it was broken in some other deck, but it's not. It is not in this one. It's so bad. Like, you'll never have. You would need at least another monster on the field, which is a Fiend, in order to summon Raviel, and that's assuming you have it in your hand. So, yes, miss me with that. Here's Mad Reloader. If this card is destroyed by battle, okay, I'm good off of that. We can just skip that. If this card is destroyed by battle, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy it. Like, okay. Here's Dark Rainbow Dragon because, okay, I'm not even gonna. When you take battle damage, these are all really old cards. Tragodia. When you take battle damage, you can special summon this card from your hand. I know this is kind of a famous card, but it gains 600 points for each card in your hand. Once per turn, you can send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard. Then target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls for the same level the sent monster had in his hand, and take control of that face-up monster. It's like, I mean, maybe back when monsters were more prevalent, that's fine, but say they only have Link monsters or Xyz monsters, and plus, if they have a high-level synchro, like, you're not going to have that in your hand. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster in the graveyard. This card's level becomes the same level as the target. So it's like, okay, let's just move on, please. Here's a Kaiju. I won't even explain it. You guys know how Kaijus work. That's pretty cool. You definitely want to have Kaijus in the deck. That goes without saying. So I may be adding that one. It's fine. They're all the same. When your opponent special summons a monster, you can discard 1 card. Okay, I mean, I guess this is great for a mirror match against the banished deck, but whatever. Puppet Master. When this card is tribute summoned, you can pay 2,000 life points, then target 2 fiends in your graveyard. That's fine, but like I said, you'll never summon Raviel, and I hate that the whole deck, that Konami wants, like, the idea behind him is that the whole deck is, like, structured behind that. Here's something that was okay. Stygian Street Patrol, for sure. You can banish this card from your graveyard, especially summon 1 feed monster with 2,000 or less from your hand. That's fine. That's cool and all. Wouldn't use it. Here's Farfa, I guess, because Burning Abyss, yeah. If this card is this card, you can special summon, and they want you to go with the dangers, like right here, obviously. I would not recommend using dangers. It's fine. If you can't afford a Pot of Extravagance or a playset, which is what you need basically, this is a decent alternative. But again, I hate going negative like that. It's crazy. Here is a fantastic card, and it's one of your combo pieces for summoning 2 Sacred Beast in 1 turn. It says when it's activated, you can add 1 of the Sacred Beast or 1 monster that specifically lists its card in its text. So all of those new monsters I've told you about, you can go ahead and add any of those to your hand. And in addition to that, which is fine itself, which is great, it's continuous spell, which I guess if you really want to summon them on, that's your thing. You can do that, but you can discard 1 card, special summon 1 fiend monster from your graveyard. So if you have a Dark Summoning Beast in your graveyard, go ahead and special summon that. Or the Chaos Summoning Beast too. That's also a thing. And it has another effect, is once per turn to control a level 10 monster, you can add one continuous spell from your graveyard to your hand. So if you had one of these bad boys in your graveyard, you can go ahead and add it back, search again. So it's just absolutely fantastic, and it helps summon your Chaos Beast in the combo. Here's Fallen Paradise, it's a common, which I guess is kind of bleh. It's a really good card though. It's Pot of Greed, and it helps targeting, obviously. So that, I think, is pretty darn good. Here's Phantasmal Martyrs. And you guys know this card, you got to discard your entire hand, basically. It's just, I don't know, why would you do that? That's so silly. Here's Spell Chronicle. I don't even know what they're thinking with this. Why is this in the deck? It's a continuous spell, and that's it. Banish 5 spells and traps from your deck. Couldn't they have just made a card like it says, like send Sacred Beast cards, like spell and traps from your deck to your graveyard? Like, wouldn't that be way better? They could have made their own continuous spell, but banish 5 spells and traps from your deck each time your opponent activates a spell card. It's like, okay, I guess you're playing Sky Strikers. It's just, let's not even talk about it. Here's Terraforming, which I guess is pretty cool. Pretty soon they put a limited card in here, especially with set rotation too. It's like all these limited 1-of cards, but here's Mountain of the Bound Creator. Let's go ahead and just toss that right in the garbage. You're never going to use that. Here's 1-for-1, which is fantastic for your Chaos Summoning Beast. This is interesting, the beginning of the end. If you have 7 or more Dark Monsters in your graveyard, you can banish 5, draw 3. That's really interesting for sure. The thing is like, what is the idea behind this deck? And I guess it's like that you're going to summon Raviel normally, and that's how they see it, but I just don't think that's how it's going to work. And here's like their poster draw card for the deck. I would not run Pot of Desires the way I build my deck, but I guess it's cool that they have a new common reprint of this. So I know it's used in a ton of decks, which is cool, but again, I don't think this is the optimal spell card. Again, everybody loves to draw 2, but everyone should technically be able to play around this and be like, I have enough cards, but this is not the case in the way, at least the way I play the deck. So here's Owner's Seal. Okay, I guess because you have Kaijus. Here's Field Barrier. It's honestly not that important that Fallen Paradise is on the field. I don't think it matters at all. This is how you know they're like really running out of ideas, and they should have just made new continuous spells. Swords of Concealing Light, you're going to flip all the monsters face down, which will get negated against Emancipators like immediately. Here's a Mystical Space Typhoon. I wish it wasn't a common, but that's pretty cool. And here, this is the bad boy of the deck, man. I can't believe how buried this thing is in here. So let's just go over it one at a time here. This card gains effects based on the number of Uriah, Hamon, or Raviel with different names you control. So if you only control one, and it may seem silly, but there is a hand trap based off of this, which is pretty good. If you're playing Emancipators and you open one Sacred Beast in this card, you're winning the game. You may not win the game, but if you're going game 3 and this is your opening, it is unbelievable if they don't open like a Twin Twisters or something like that. So if you hold run, every time they normal special summon, anytime, you gain life points equal to the attack of that monster on the field. So if it had some sort of boosted attack for whatever reason, it's not the original attack. It's whatever attack it has on the field. And then 2, this is the most important thing. And this card is bananas, man. If you have 2 different ones, which is what you'll have, you'll never have 3, but I'll still over the effect. Negate the effects of monsters your opponent controls. It negates everything. If your opponent has them in the graveyard, negate. Anything on the field, negate. It's skill drain 2, man. It's not, oh dude, it's insane. It is such a good effect. I don't think they understood how good of a card they made. In any case, if you have all 3 of them, which you won't, any monster sent to the graveyard is banished instead. So it's a Macro Cosmos, which is a great effect. It's just too much to do. And here we go. And there's also another effect. Once per turn, if you control a level 10 monster, you can add 1 continuous trap from your graveyard to your hand. So if you were to make a Uriah deck, this would be fantastic. You can add a Fiendish Chain back to your hand. You can add, I don't know, there can be only 1, which is awesome, which I run in my deck. So if they were to somehow destroy it and think that they were going to mess me up next turn because they used all their resources just to get rid of it, I'm just going to add it back to my hand and activate it. So this is an awesome card, and I really like it. Escape from the Different Dimension. Used to run this card back in the Dizzle. I think I even have it in my deck profile, but not anymore. It's just a little too slow for my liking. Yeah, that's fine. Face up continuous traps you control can't be destroyed. Face up continuous traps cannot be destroyed by battle. So I guess if you have that last one. Here's Mistake, which is fine, but I mean, you're doing a lot of searching too, so I've gone back and forth on this myself. So I guess if you're going first and you open this, it's fine because you're probably not going to want to search again, and you feel pretty comfortable about that. I think that's pretty matchup dependent. Maybe it's something you want to put in your side deck, but Mistake is obviously a really good card. Here's Dark. I mean, this is fine because there is Graveyard Floating effect, so it's just slow to draw one card, man. That's just nuts. I'm not even gonna go over this. Like, what are we doing here? And here are your tokens. Last thing here, which is pretty cool for your Raviel. I think that's pretty neat. I like that. But so that was everything that you're gonna get in the deck. So let me tell you the main thing, the problem I have with this deck, and I'll show you the cards that I have the problem with. Let's see. 1 second here. Here's you. Here's you. And here is you. Now, I just went over these cards here. And these are the 3 best cards that we got. Definitively, it goes without say. There's no debate about it. These are the 3 best cards right here. Does anyone see the problem of what is going on here? They're all commons. The best cards in the deck are all commons. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like that's a bad business design. Honestly, it's like, you know, people are going to be using these the most. Like, no one's going to use the garbage that you included in this deck. Obviously, why would you? So yeah, I mean, that's just the most disappointing part of this set, and that upset me the most. Another thing, obviously, which I mentioned, I'm really upset about. They didn't add another fusion monster. I think they could have had a lot of fun with it, and I think it would have been really cool. And the way they hyped it up with the spell card coming out made it seem like, okay, here we go. But yeah, I mean, that's how that was. So yeah, a lot of obviously Yu-Gi Troopers have been doing videos about this, and let me just tell you the problem I have with the way people structure their deck is, like, first of all, they're playing 2 of each. Most of them have the Sacred Beast monsters, and it's like that. I mean, I get it. They don't play the deck, so that they don't really know. Like, they don't really care because it's so casual, and I get that. But I just think that's silly to do, honestly. I have 3 of the Sacred Beast in my deck, which you guys will see tomorrow, but I don't know. I just, hopefully you guys will like what I'm doing with the deck a little more, and you guys make sure you check out my video tomorrow. So if you want to get the notification when that pops up, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Overall, I'm super happy with this, with what they came in, the new cards, these 3 especially. And the Carillion, I think, is fantastic too. So let me know what you guys think about this structure deck in the comments down below. Other than that, guys, I think that's going to do it for today. Be sure to look out. I'm going to be ordering the rest of the cards to make the rest of my structure, or make the rest of the deck that I have built online, and I'll do a structure deck for you guys on that. Or deck profile, I should say. Other than that, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.